you're fine, which we'll do today. And then we also have some tomato, which you can add as much or as little as you like. Some is always key to a good guac, as is some red onion. And again, I know some people aren't huge onion fans, but just a little bit will go a long way. And then I'll also show you how to peel cilantro, which, like most people, you know, you don't always buy a fresh herb, and when you do, sometimes it's hard to take it off the stem, so we'll go through that as well. And then our additives tonight will be our guacamole salsa seasoning. And if you want a little bit of extra kick, we have a little bit more of one of our olive oils, our cilantro and roasted onion. But we'll get started first with the avocado. So I'm gonna scoot over here so you guys can all see me. We have a couple of trash bowls in front here, so feel free to use those as we go. And these little bowls are where you're actually gonna be making your own guac. So you're gonna wanna grab your bowl when you're ready. So first things first, some of your avocados, you'll notice have a little hard stem where it was attached to the tree. So if you have that, go ahead and take that off, throw it in one of our trash bowls. And when you go to the store, you don't often find your avocados in this condition. They're usually bright green, about the color of my cutting board, and very, very firm, which is fine unless you plan on serving them that night. It's fine to buy unripened avocados. Just take them home and put them in a fruit basket along with some bananas or apples or another fruit. Just don't stick them in the fridge. And if you don't happen to have other fruit with you, you can always put them in a brown paper bag and just close it, and it'll just ripen itself, usually overnight, but definitely within a day. So in your dominant hand, hold your knife. Do you all cut?
She's a lefty.
That's fine. You all cook a little bit at least at home? Okay. So with your non-dominant hand, hold your avocado, and we're just going to basically pare it in half. So I normally just go at the very top, push in until you reach the big, huge seed in the center, and then you're just gonna swivel all the way around, applying just a little bit of pressure on that seed, and then just give it a nice twisting motion, and you'll have 2 halves of an avocado. Perfect. There you go. Now the seed is still stuck in one side, and the easiest way to remove that is to take your knife and just tap the blade, and then you'll be able to twist the seed out. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, they do fly around a little bit sometimes. Now when you make guac, you normally want to mash it a bit, and so look in your avocado too. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of a seed remnant behind, so just pull out anything you see in there. When you're mashing it, you can leave it whole, but I do like to just kind of score it up a little bit. So just take your knife and just make a couple of vertical lines and a few horizontal, just to give yourself a little bit easier time when you're mashing it with your fork, and do that on both sides. And just make a checkerboard essentially. And again, when you're on your second side, look and make sure there's no little remnants of seed. You can take those out and put them right in your trash bowl. Perfect. And then there's 2 ways to get out all of the goodness inside. You can either use a spoon or you can use the squish method. So I would recommend trying 1 each of each half of your avocado. So for your bowl, just this is what you're making your guac in. For the first one, take your spoon and you just want to put it under the far lip. You'll feel the difference between the soft inside of the avocado and the rough skin, and just scoop all along the bottom. And since we're mashing it, if there's any left over, you can just scrape that out as well too. And then yes, trash bowl. I'm gonna slide all that goodies over to that, just so she doesn't have to reach over them. There we go. And then for the other, try the squish method, where you essentially just kind of squeeze the avocado. Both are fine if you're making something like guac, but if you wanted sliced avocados, obviously the squish method is probably preferred. And then of course you can use your spoon to scoop out the extras. There you go. So they both work pretty much the same. So now you have the bulk of your guacamole. So what we'll do before we go any further is take your larger knife, or excuse me, your larger fork. We're just gonna kind of mash it. You can make it as chunky as you like. I usually like to do mine about 80% creamy, but do leave about 20% chunks behind. But again, it's up to your liking. Some people like theirs very, very smooth. Some people like theirs a bit thicker. It is completely up to personal preference. But you want to mash at least half of it. There we go.
Nice red avocado.
These are perfect. Well, today is all about education and fun and good food, so you're halfway there. So once you have it mashed about as much as you like, we're going to put in all the extra ingredients. The first first one will be tomato. So you don't have to use the entire tomato that I gave to you, but I would recommend doing some thin slices, and then you can just cut those on the diagonal. However works for you. You want to try to get your onion and your tomato pieces as small as possible. Otherwise, when you're eating this, you'll kind of have large chunks and then a smooth, creamy background of the avocado. So you just want to try to make them consistent. That's one of the keys when you're eating too, and the reason why a lot of people prefer to eat out at restaurants without really knowing it is when you go to restaurants, not only do they use lots of salts and additives in food, but they also do something that most home chefs don't think about, and that is uniformity in size of the pieces in all of your dishes. So if you go out and let's say you order penne with chicken and broccoli, they'll make sure that the chicken slices and the broccoli pieces are similar in size to the penne noodles, so that you don't have a huge bunch of broccoli and then a small little piece of chicken. Everything is uniform in size so that you either do or don't have to use a knife while you eat. So when you're doing this at home, same thing. So go ahead and add as much of that tomato as you'd like.
What do you recommend?
I put the whole thing in.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave you enough. I gave you the way that I like it, which is about a half of tomato to the amount of your avocado. And then same thing for the red onion. If you're not a huge red onion fan, you can always put in less. But you want to put in probably at least a quarter of what you have, unless you can't stand red onion, and in that case, put in more. But for the red onion especially, since it's raw onion, you do want to cut this to be nice and small. There's no rush. Okay, we've got omelet. And then you can scoop that in when you're ready too. And then I'll teach you all about the cilantro. It's actually my husband's favorite herb.
Cilantro hot.
No, not spicy at all.
No.
It has a very distinct taste, so if you're not really certain what it tastes like, you will know soon.
I think some people have a love-hate relationship.
Yes, I think
A lot of people
so.
actually have different receptors in their tongues where cilantro to them tastes like soap. So there's some people who say, I really like cilantro, or they don't like Mexican cuisine because cilantro is in things and they can never figure out why. But they found over years of research that it actually has a soapy taste.
Is there a soap?
Are you? Well, then I won't put cilantro in yours.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
You can
do
pass
it.
yours along.
Yeah, I'm all good about the onion though.
So you can start to mix that up a bit, and you'll see that it's getting nice and chunky. Lots of goodness in there.
No, I'm good. Want more cilantro?
Yeah, that's good. Yep. Looking good, nice and chunky. So once you have the avocado mashed, the tomato sliced, and then the onion in, there's two more things which we'll add for sure. For you, I wouldn't add the cilantro.
Yeah.
But when you get to the cilantro, this kind of makes the guacamole for me. Normally when you buy a bunch of cilantro, definitely rinse it well. You want to dry it a little bit, which just means lay it on a clean dish towel or some paper towels just to get most of the residual moisture off. And they have a huge long stem, which you don't want to use. A lot of people will take the bunch of cilantro and just kind of concentrate on this top third and just start dicing it, which is fine, but if you actually look at a cilantro stem, you'll see that you have this whole section in the middle which has no leaves and it's just stem, but you have tiny little shoots of leaves along the way. So if you want to just grab the bunch and dice it, you can, but know that you'll be serving people a lot of this kind of almost woody-like stem in the middle, so it's much better if you can spend a few minutes and actually pluck the leaves off. The easiest way to do it is actually take the very top of your cilantro plant, and it's kind of counterintuitive, but you want to slide down towards the thicker base. That way you don't tear all of the leaves. So you can keep them whole if you like and toss those in. Most people would think to hold the bottom and pull up, but it actually makes it a lot harder to tear the leaves off because they don't want to go that way and you end up ripping them. So if you hold by the top and pull down towards the base, that's the fastest way, and it also keeps the leaves nice and whole for you.
So you don't chop then?
You can.
use some?
You can. So get all of your cilantro leaves in. If you'd like to dice those up a little bit too, you can. I leave mine whole because I love them. So you're not
using garlic or lime, huh?
You'll see why.
All right. Can't
The
wait.
last ingredient is our guacamole salsa seasoning. It's made for us by the Galena Garlic Company, which is in Galena, Illinois. All of their seasonings are hand blended, made in small batches, very, very quality controlled, and this is one of my favorites. I use it in my pico de gallo, which is a non-spicy type of salsa, but I also use this in my guac in place of adding any type of tomatillos, any chilies like jalapenos, any lime, because it contains many of the ingredients you'd want to use anyway. Tomatillo powder, cilantro, onion, jalapenos, serrano, garlic, oregano, lime powder, sea salt, cumin, and honey. So very flavorful, and one small package will last, oh gosh, we have ours for quite a long time. So it is to taste, but I'm gonna kind of sprinkle mine in so you can see about how much I would put in mine. You'll taste your guac, and if you'd like to add more, you can. So this is not only our appetizer, but don't feel like you have to scarf it all, because you can actually put them on your tostada towards the end of the meal. But it's really good, you'll probably want it.
After they finish it up.
Yeah. So, for this size, for one avocado, I probably use close to a tablespoon. But what I normally do is just a nice liberal sprinkle over the top. Remember, you can always add more. And you see. If you want to add a little bit less at first, you can if you're not sure about the flavors, but it has everything you would normally add. Fresh garlic, the lime, some cumin, and then give it a nice mix. And I'll have you try it to see if it's enough flavor for you.
Is there any heat in it?
Not really. There's a little bit of jalapeno, but it's not really going to knock your socks off. You'll get a little bit of a residual heat after you've swallowed, but it's not going to burn your tongue as soon as you try it. It's actually really good.
The slowest cook in the world. Obviously I am.
You're getting it. See, and you have good hand technique and everything. I'm not even worried about you chopping any fingers off. You'll be just fine.
Say that I've been in the ER more times than you want to know.
Oh,
My sister doesn't let me have a knife.
Oh. Well, then maybe hold off on more sangria until after. Speaking of, you do get a glass of sangria with the meal complimentary, but if you'd like more, we do have extra if you'd like to buy more. Just let us know. So once you put in your seasoning, go ahead and give it a nice mix. Want more?
Thank you.
Mix that up and then we'll have you put your seasoning in too. And then everything else just toss right in the trash bowls.
Anybody want the extra onion? I think it's good.
I still have a little. Because I was thrown so far behind.
You like it?
Uh-huh.
So take some chips, please. Start eating while we talk about our main course. No problem.
Ah,
Here's some too in this whole bowl for you guys. What do you think? Did you know how to slice and dice your avocados like that before today? Anyone want more
No.
seasoning? Pretty good.
I think I would.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
maybe a little.
You can double dip.
Right.
Because it's your
I
own
know,
bowl.
right? I know, I licked my spoon before and I'm like, it's mine.
Now, if avocado is not typically a staple food for you, but you do enjoy this, I would highly recommend incorporating it into your diet. It's one of those fruits that provides healthy fat, has lots of different minerals, contains lots of fiber. It's actually a wonderful food for you. They recommend giving it to children as well too, because not only does it have a nice soft texture, similar to a banana per se that most kids would like, but it's packed full of vitamins and minerals, and it really is quite healthy.